Hey,
Welcome to this moment, loves. We are live on all three platforms. The frame on Facebook might be, you know what it is, but welcome to this moment. Good day. Hey, Pamela. Good to see you, love.
hey.
We are streaming live on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. So, welcome back to episode. Oh, I didn't bring the blanket. Right. Welcome back to episode 93 of the Holistic Freedom Secrets podcast. I am Coach Tensi, and you just saw Coach Soul. We are Ufulu Child, and we are holistic healers, holistic performers. I got you. And just excited to be here on this early day.
Our podcast follows our 5-prong healing system that consists of the concepts be, cleanse, fuel, move, and shine. Today is Thursday, so it's Move Day, and we're talking about the second, sort of internal concept of movement today, which deals with taking action. Because when you get disciplined about moving your body, that also unlocks an ability to keep taking action in your goals.
Yes.
So that's what the connection is there. And today's episode is entitled Forward Focus, Tapping into Logic and Action when Facing Obstacles. And being in completely super duper liberal Austin, Texas, there's a lot of people who right now are stuck in panic mode and who feel like there's nothing to do. We don't have any goals and we should just, everything is lost and we shouldn't take action. And this is felt, with sort of one look at social media and what people are posting and things like that. And so that's what inspired me to come up with this episode, because we're never in a space where we can do nothing.
We are not powerless.
Yeah.
We have way more power than we know. And it's important to me for us to be reminded of that and to remember that no matter what is going on in this world, no matter what craziness is going on in this world, that if we continue to give our power away or trust in some sort of outside, whether it's government or the efficacy and the if we just give our power away to these systems,
right,
then we will just continually find it being siphoned out of us and never coming back to our visions of what freedom truly is and acting on that with courage. Because when we get wrapped up in this mind state of fear, then it's like we've already signed over all of our power to somebody else, to something else, to some idea of authority, which never really needed to have it in the first place. Yeah. So let's get into it, because this is important. And we also feel this a lot when we're in our health journeys. So whenever you feel stuck, whether it's any aspect of holistic health, whether it's like you feeling a mental block or some sort of plateau in your physical health journey. Oftentimes, physically speaking, people might experience this with a path to manage their like a healthy weight, or it could also be felt in a journey of trying to reverse an autoimmune condition.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever it is, this feeling of stagnation or a feeling like, oh man, like, okay, I was just hit with all these challenges. And what do you do from there after you've been discouraged, after you are in a moment where you're feeling a lot of disappointment, not only in maybe the circumstance, but maybe even in yourself as well, or however it may be showing up, feeling those heavier emotions? How do we press that reset button and keep going?
And of course, the answer to how to press the reset button is always rooted in knowledge of self, right? So if you know Sorry, it's just been staring at that for a while. If you know that the body's sort of natural, it's really the conditioned response, but after a certain age, it feels like the natural response. If you know that your body's conditioned response is frustration and self-doubt
Mm,
and a tendency to dwell in the perceived failures, then you know that those feelings, that tendency, that pull on your attention is going to come, and you use that knowledge of self, that that's on its way, that that's coming, that that is felt right now, whatever, to, instead of believing that as your identity, as this is me, this is truly me, and I'm going to go with this reaction, you can choose something different, even though you feel like choosing the conditioned response.
mm,
If that makes any sense, you have to use knowledge of self, meaning you have to pay attention to how your internal response has been conditioned so that you can choose something else. Because if you just completely identify with how you feel or how you think and that's it, then you'll never be able to choose something new for yourself. You'll only be able to choose conditioning that the world has given you,
is this
and
is
you won't
this
grow from that.
making sense? Is this helpful for y'all? If you're watching live or you're watching the replay, just let us know in the comments. This is making sense to me, and I'm really enjoying diving into this. One of the things that's really helpful is practicing self-reflection, and so I know that as a meditation and productivity type coach, you've encouraged a lot of journaling and
Hmm.
utilizing practices like meditation to kind of, well, to see more objectively what is coming up, what is arising, whether it's in my thoughts in my mind. And um one of the ways, like, what's one of the ways that we can begin to truly reframe the obstacles utilizing logic? Like, what does that kind of look like?
Well, so yeah, so tapping into logic is one of the strategies that I would suggest to those that are in, you know, conditioned turmoil from the mainstream news media right now and social media echo chambers right now. So the long short of it is their pick for puppet, President Joe Puppet or whatever, didn't win the race, and now there's this air of doom and gloom in what they're saying, and so tapping into logic is a way for opening the door to, okay, why may have this result happened outside of just what the echo chamber and the mainstream news media may say about it, and what does this actually change about my access to doing the things that I've been doing this whole time, or to doing the things that I would like to do in the future? What does this really do to my own ability to create change in my world and create change for future generations? And usually it's a very, very minuscule, I would even say 99% of the time, it's absolutely no change to the access that you have, because it's such a high seat, you could say. It's such a far away place, president of the United States or whatever, changing that change up there does not trickle down to an immediate change where you are. And so you connecting with people, you connecting with Earth, you creating and innovating, systems and ideas, is not stopped or stagnated by that. Only the mind can convince you to stop moving because you didn't see the result you wanted to see.
Hmm. So, when it comes to taking action, if it, and one thing that I've noticed, especially because I have felt stagnant, because one of the things for me is if my emotions have been, I see a lot of the world through the lens of how I feel. And when how I feel, when how I feel. Ooh, you got your hair, babe. When how I feel. Grand Rising. Welcome in YouTube land.
Peace.
Gets the best of me, and I'm overtaken by my emotions. Logic is out the window, and it's really hard to anchor back into even being receptive to hearing logic. So I feel like that's where a lot of, and I'll say the collective, as like the zooming out and looking at how it seems everyone is kind of doing. Everyone is either really happy or really upset and fearful. And regardless of where you are on the spectrum, just remember that at the end of the day, you care the most and you're going to do the most than anybody else for yourself and your family. And it's going to take you to take self ownership over your life in order to even remotely reach what your vision of freedom is. And that's something that it took me a long time to realize, but um, through falling on my face many times in life, it just reminded me every time I had to get back up on creaky bones and pick myself up and dust myself up and wash the clothes of all the mud and all the things. It just reminded me to see the patterns, that you can start seeing patterns in certain obstacles and certain habits and certain thought patterns coming through again and again. And when will we start to question and push back on our automatic responses to feel disempowered, or to readily give our power away to someone else, or to rage and be mad? Like, come on now, we gotta move forward with some more meaningful action. So
Yeah, and to kind of put that into perspective, let's say the setback was a physical one, right? Let's say a
mm,
big storm came and knocked out a large portion of your um, farm and garden that you are using to help the community, right?
mm,
You were organizing these things and you were holding events, and it was all at this place where we got to plant things together and harvest them. And
mm.
then suddenly, all of that was messed up, and your operations got thrown out of whack because now the resources have been impacted. Um, this actually happened to somebody that or we're acquaintances of. We don't know them very intimately, but when this happened, they were able to not just get stagnant and all of my operations are gone and stop moving. What they did was they contacted the people, the network that they built in organizing their events
Locally.
around them locally.
Mhm.
And all of those people came and they donated things. They donated chickens, they
Time.
donated eggs, they donated seeds, they donated time to help recultivate the
Mm.
land and get out the slush mud and get to where the ground was better, to replant and to change the situation. And in that, it took only 2 days for the operations schedule to be reset and for the stock to be sort of restocked, and now have even more, at least when it came to chickens, I believe he said.
Mhm.
and and it was amazing. It was an amazing thing. And so tapping into logic, taking time to, whether it's mentally or on paper, list out the facts of what actually is going on, list out the facts of what actually has changed and can change, and moving from truth.
Yes. So in doing that, when we're brainstorming these things and writing them down, oftentimes we can start to see patterns in what we've written too. Pathways to empowerment is what I'll call it. You'll start to notice, like, after all the gunk and spilled all over the page, maybe you vented a little bit, maybe whatever happened, you start to see the possibilities the more that you get it out of your head and onto some tangible medium, whether it's you're creating a painting or you're writing things down in words. You start to see different patterns and possibilities. that you can maybe sparks an idea or an insight in you, and that's something you can take and create an action plan with.
Yeah.
So yeah, what would be the next natural step is something that I often think of. Let's come up with a big goal. Let's come up with a goal that we can check in on, whether it's 2 weeks from now or a month from now, and then let's consider, okay, what would be one thing that would get you closer to that? And you can lean into community. That's one of the most powerful things. Like, you don't have to do it all your own, and you literally cannot do it all your own.
Yeah.
So remembering that your failures can be fuel. Your failures are feedback. Your failures, the missteps, the things that you thought that were going to go one way, they went left. Um, these are all valuable things, tools for growth. And if you hadn't gone through those things, if those things hadn't shaken up your world, you would have never even imagined that, oh my gosh, I have more strength. I have more, uh, I have more power flowing through me than I could have ever really tapped into or accessed or known or even trusted before.
And you can also lean into knowledge, right? You can look up and get books written by authors that tell the story of how they were able to tap into logic and get out of just the emotional, again, it feels natural response to a setback, and get back on their feet, and how they did it. And there are books written for any big goals, right? Any big umbrella goals. There are books just like that of people that were trying to reach those goals, met many setbacks, and what they did to get over them. And so you can lean on both your community and, take some time to read some and read real books from authors, not just textbooks and 1700th edition encyclopedias, but actual books from the authors themselves, from their mind to yours, so that you can consume that knowledge and see how in your life you can implement some of their strategies and expand your options.
Yeah, filter for truth. Be open to the information, but do your little tests and see how it actually pans out in life. Filter for truth and apply. Um, this is the big simple strategy that's sometimes a big challenge to actually implement, because we're met up again and again with our own inner resistance. And so sometimes we have to literally move our bodies to process some of these emotions that are causing the stagnation. So if you can get up and stretch, or if your thing is going to the gym and just like lifting weights, then do that. If your thing is dance, do that. If your thing is yoga, just move your body somehow, even if it's going for a walk around. And that'll also help in the process of releasing some of the excess stress that's built up. That'll help in the process of thinking through what you can do for your action plan. And that'll also help in the process of um, just allowing for your brain to calm down enough for for the connections of the dots to be made, so that you can move forward. You can think, oh snap, this other person's on a similar path to me, and I can reach out to them. Maybe it'll bring motivation for both of us, or encouragement for both of us, or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. You guys get the gist of today's episode. It's continuing to move forward with a forward focus, regardless of the perceived setbacks, the perceived failures, the perceived doom and gloom, and gaining by paying attention, inwardly, knowledge of self. Right? Knowledge of self is simply, why are my reactions and responses what they are today? Okay, that's the further and deeper you get into that question, the more knowledge of self you gain. Why am I conditioned the way I am conditioned currently? And you keep diving deeper and deeper and deeper into that. It's a very vast pool. It may seem like vague language, But the more you dive into it for yourself experientially, the easier it is to narrow the focus to how to use this knowledge to improve your life and to improve your thinking skill, like your critical thinking skills and stuff like that.
One pitfall that people tend to fall into, and I have, is if you're leaning toward uh, it's going deeper into blaming some other power, then okay, see that, acknowledge that, but then also go deeper into peeling back the layers within yourself outside of blaming someone else or something else. They probably had a role in it, but where can you follow the thread of empowerment at the same time? Is kind of how I think of it.
Just keep asking the question why, how, and go deeper and deeper, and it'll reveal itself to you. Other than that, thank you all so very, very, very much for tuning into this episode 94 of the Holistic Freedom Secrets podcast. You can get yourself a copy of my book, Culture Control: Why the Love of Money is Objectively the Root of All Evil, by me, Soul Expression. On the link in the description and the links in the bios, it's our link tree. And we will see you guys tomorrow for Shine Day, talking about sharing honest, insightful, nourishing expressions with our communities.
Take good care, loves. Peace.